It's a wage quit.
And then we had only like $1.50 tip. So basically it was all on people on YouTube who did some memberships and some super chats, and we got like $76 or something like that, and that was it. So we got halfway. And I said, well, this is disheartening. Not only am I kind of on the fence gameplay-wise about if I want to get this game, people didn't even support my second stream of it.
Urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And here we have DSP, the successful businessman, floundering because he chose to make his business model about having a handful of people who at a whim could choose to support him or not choose to support him be his entire business model. So let's get into it.
Okay, so first off, on the Level 1 podcast, we talked about a few various different topics, and we actually determined that the next DSP tries it is going to be the adult Happy Meal from McDonald's. I'm not too pleased with that. I certainly would have preferred other stuff, but that's what people voted for, and that's what they wanted, so that's what you're getting. Okay.
The memes, the thumbnails that are going to come from Phil being seen with some McDonald's and especially a Happy Meal is going to be legendary. Now, I don't know how this came to be as far as how they determined McDonald's was going to be what he ate next, but I got a sneaky suspicion that the trolls have something to do with that.
Okay, since there's only 5 streaming days this week, that's 10 streams. That means that we have to hit 8 goals within 9 streams so we can do it by Thursday. Okay, so I laid that out for everyone as clearly as I could on the Level 1 podcast.
But why does it have to be by Thursday? What other obligations do you have? Where else do you need to be where you have to try to fit this in around what everything else that you have going on? Phil, you're not doing nothing else, man. It doesn't matter what day you eat a burger.
So the other major focus of the podcast was focusing on the fact of how disappointing things are right now in the fighting game community with the classic games. And what I mean by that is it's very difficult right now to play the classic 4 games that kept fighting games alive for over a decade. Marvel 2, CVS 2, Super Turbo, and Third Strike all have had collections come out by which you could play them on modern platforms, but none of these collections have stood more than a year.
Well, what else would you have them do? I mean, only thing they can do is bring them to the forefront and make them playable on the platforms that we have now. I mean, what what do you want them to do? Rebuild the game from the ground up specifically for you?
All fade into obscurity and people stop playing them. And it's just sad because I really think that they should be more accessible besides emulating them on PC illegally via Fightcade.
Now, this is the guy who railed against Street Fighter 6 because he claimed that they were trying to appeal to a broader audience by making the game accessible. Remember, he was talking about modern controls, crying. Isn't that part of the reason why he rails against rollback netcode? Because it's for brainless idiots. Isn't that part of the reason why he hates drive impact and drive rush and all these other mechanics in Street Fighter? Because he feels like they're noob tools. But here he is complaining about accessibility.
So I had a big segment talking about why these collections have sucked, what Capcom should do to improve them, and why I think they won't. I have no idea if anyone in the FGC will give a shit, but I wanted to get it off my chest because, you know, after having played CVS 2 for the past 2 to 3 months, getting reinvigorated for classic fighting games, and then seeing that I can no longer even play it on PC because the player base ran away and stopped playing it, that pisses me off. You know, I'm thinking to myself, will I ever be able to play Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo ever again? Maybe not. I may never be able to play my favorite fighting game ever again because they will not release legit collections. So anyway.
Whatever, Phil. This is you once again trying to blow your trumpet in the hopes that somebody in the FGC will take you seriously. Phil, nobody in the FGC and really in the world at large cares about your opinions on any topic, Phil, at all. Now we know that a lot of how you view yourself is tied to what you believe to be your fighting game prowess, and that's part of the reason why you do these things. But all it is you embarrassing yourself, man. You sound like an old man yelling at the clouds. And these young kids who are coming up in the FGC right now don't care about what you're talking about. They don't want to be associated with you at all, right? Your reputation is so negative that even if you did say something noteworthy, it doesn't even matter. So just be quiet.
Anyway, that was a huge segment of the podcast. And then we moved into Battlefield 6, the open beta, because today was the last day for it. Okay. So I'll talk more about this over the week, but in a nutshell, Battlefield 6, it runs beautifully on my PC, has some bugs and graphical issues. It always did. It always was kind of a buggy situation. You know what I mean? But in regards to this game, okay, I tried some other modes today. I tried the rush mode. And what rush mode is just smaller portions of each of the big conquest maps that are more isolated. And they're about the size of a map of playing Call of Duty. And when this happens, since there's no vehicles, it becomes like you're playing Call of Duty. In fact, I would argue they're trying to get the Call of Duty demographic to play Battlefield 6 this year instead of Call of Duty by offering this Call of Duty-esque style of play. But then there's Conquest, which is the giant maps, which have a ridiculous amount of vehicles, players on them at once, and chaos. And what I mean by that is, although Conquest can be very fun, it also can be very chaotic and frustrating.
Well, Phil, I don't know the last time you watched a historic film about war, but war is very chaotic, and the conquest mode in Battlefield is mimicking a battlefield, Phil. That's the point. Now, when you compare that experience to the Call of Duty experience, Call of Duty very much feels like an arcade game. How fast you can move, a lot of the perks and the crazy things that you can do. There's a lot of spammable things in Call of Duty. Battlefield looks to slow things down to offer a more realistic approach to things. So yes, strategy and communication are going to be far more important in this game than it would be in Call of Duty. And we know you struggle with things like communication. So naturally, Battlefield will be hard for you, Phil. We get it.
It's very hard on Conquest to get a single kill and not immediately get shot from 17 directions. That's just the nature of Conquest. You have people spawning on others. Kill one guy, oh, two guys spawned on him, and they immediately kill you. Like, what the hell just happened? Or you kill 2-3 guys, all of a sudden you're already immediately flanked, you're dead. But how was I outplayed? You weren't.
You need to have a lot more situational awareness. I mean, that's just the facts of the matter. It's a different experience. And I don't care about Battlefield or Call of Duty, but comparing these two will be like comparing Madden to some NFL arcade game like NFL Blitz from back in the day or something like that. They're both football games, but it's two different experiences.
So there's just chaos where if one team just plays better right at the beginning, you just basically can never come back because they'll just hold a position with the vehicles and you can't get out of it. Like that's what happened today. I think it was my second match of Conquest. The enemy team grabbed 2 tanks, drove right up to the point where we need to go to try to take over other parts. And you just can't stop them. They just dominated. They held the entire street and we could never get past them. No matter how hard we tried, it was failure. It was pretty bad.
It sounds like they were communicating. It sounds like they had some coordination. It sounds like they came to play Battlefield, Phil. That's what happened. You came up against people who actually care about what they're doing. They're actually passionate about what they're doing. So they're going to try to figure out how things actually work. They're not going to just fumble through the menus and ignore mechanics and then wonder what happens when they go out into the game and things don't go the way that they claim or think that they should go.
So here's the thing. I feel like Conquest can be fun, but really you need a lot of experience to know the maps, to know the placement of the vehicles. You need to study the classes. You need to really know your shit. It's very hard to just drop into Conquest, play it, do well, and have fun. As opposed to Rush, which again is like Call of Duty, that's very simple. You can easily jump in there, play it like Call of Duty, and actually have fun and do well. So that's one observation I had today.
Also, when you play team-based games or even just team-based things in general, momentum is a very real thing. Now, I know Phil only talks about momentum in terms of how much money he's going to make. But many of us have watched football games and basketball games or a boxing match, and things have seen it like they were going to go one way, and then all of a sudden there was a momentum shift, and then it just kind of stayed that way throughout. Um, one instance in particular that comes to mind is the Super Bowl between the New England Patriots and Atlanta Falcons. I know a lot of y'all probably remember that, but there's countless examples of stuff like that. Um, a lot of times you have to break the flow of what somebody is trying to do. Even when you watch a sport like basketball, it's a game of runs, you know, and what they do when a team goes on a crazy run, what does the opposing team do? They call a timeout. Why? To stop the momentum.
The other observation is that it just seems like the starter guns, some of them are way better than others. For example, the starter assault rifle is godlike. You can literally aim, spray, and just kill right away from any distance. I wish that was a joke. Oh no, you can kill people from ridiculously far away with this rifle. It's insane how far away you can kill with it. But then it's funny because like I'm using, say, the marksman rifle. Now the marksman rifle is single shot, but it's semi-automatic. So you can get 2 or 3 shots into someone, they die. You'll go 1 shot, 2 shot. You go for your 3rd shot, they just go blah, and you die because they had the rifle, the assault gun, the assault rifle. Like, well, how is that strategy? How did they outplay me? I got the drop on them. I shot them twice. I went for the kill shot, and then they just sprayed and insta-killed me.
Isn't it funny how we've seen Phil get killed in countless games, shooting games, number of different ways, but the way he explains it is always the same, right? It doesn't matter what the actual scenario is or what really happened. Phil is going to come here and give you this scenario. He had the drop on the guy. He was doing everything right. He low crawled around the corner. He sighted in, slow, steady squeeze, right? And then all of a sudden the guy just turned around and then he just got blamed and he don't know what happened. That's not even the nature of Battlefield, man. This guy is crazy.
So it seems like right now the game is not balanced. Really, it seems horribly unbalanced where certain guns are way OP and others are really shitty. And I'm sure if you unlock all the attachments and you do all that stuff, maybe then it would be balanced, right? But right now it's just not. So it's hard for me to put my finger on if this is going to be a great game or not.
And I'm not going to argue with that. The game did just, it's in the beta right now. So naturally, it's going to be rough around the edges in certain areas. And I'm sure some things are overtuned or undertuned. I mean, that's just the nature of these things. But Phil trying to act as if he doesn't know if it's going to be a great game or not, like somebody cares, Phil, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Battlefield historically has done well, regardless of what Darksydephil thinks.
But ultimately, one thing surprised me today. If you remember last weekend when there was the first open beta, but it was only 2 days, one of the days I was off, and one of the days I played Mafia the Old Country because I didn't play it on release day because I was doing a marathon. So I missed that first beta, and I said, don't worry, I'll play it next week, which I have done.
Well, that was your mistake. We've been over this before. In this space that you're in, the gaming space, things age very quickly. It's a lot like the sports world. Something comes out and then it's relevant and then next week is not relevant. So things do no longer have the same staying power as they used to have. So a part of your success on this platform is going to be tied to timing, right? Not necessarily the content itself, but when you do the content, Phil, you still don't understand this. So it doesn't matter what you had scheduled or what you had going on. You have complete control over that. What you should have done is push things to the side and squeezed in the Battlefield 6 beta because that's what makes sense. That's what's best for business, right?
So you would think, since everyone was screaming at me last week, Phil, we want you to play this beta. When are you going to play the beta? I said, don't worry, I'll play it next weekend. So I did. Today, we did not have high attendance or anything. In fact, I'd say it was just average attendance for a normal stream. And support was bad. We only got halfway to a goal.
Like I told y'all, man, every time Phil doesn't hit a goal, an angel gets his wings. It's just music to my ears, man, because this is the exact opposite of how somebody would act who is successful. Somebody who is successful who did not hit 1 goal or 2 goals, they're not tripping. They won't even mention it. But for Phil, he's going to beg the entire time, and the daily rap is going to turn to a business meeting. We all know that. When you come to the daily rap, and if it's longer than 10 minutes, Phil talking about money.
And the funny part about it was I said during the stream, So, guys, I'm on the fence about this game. What I would say is this: if you guys support today's stream and we hit the goal, which I really need to get momentum going this week to see if we can do DSP tries it by the end of this week, I'll buy the game. I'll commit to buying the game when it comes out in, what is it, October? I'll commit to buying it as long as you guys support this stream.
But what does that really mean? You can commit to buying the game, play it for one stream, and still quit. So look how one-sided this arrangement is. Why would anybody in their right mind commit to something like that? We give you $150, you go buy the game, and then the following stream, because it didn't make money, all of a sudden you wage quit it and it's exiled just like everything else. What kind of deal is that?
No one did. Well, I don't want to say no one did. That's a gross overgeneralization. That's not fair. Some people did, but we had no support from Kick at all. 0 subs on Kick. Seriously, I'm not kidding. 0 subs.
It's almost as if Kick is just nothing but LARPers. It's almost as if, Phil, you're saying this shit every day. I mean, the exact same thing too. 0 support from Kick. I mean, are you not getting the message yet?
And then we had only like $1.50 tip. So basically it was all on people on YouTube who did some memberships and some super chats, and we got like $76 or something like that, and that was it. So we got halfway. And I said, well, this is disheartening. Not only am I kind of on the fence gameplay wise about if I want to get this game, people didn't even support my second stream of it. So now I don't know. Now I don't know if I'm playing this or not when it comes out in October. I'm 100% torn. I said to everyone, please leave comments on the videos. Let me know on future streams. What do you want me to do? We have 2 months to figure this out. I like the fact that Call of Duty has competition. I'm not sold that this game is going to be that competition and is going to be good enough.
Everything isn't direct competition. There's a such thing as market share, Phil. There's a lot of crossover these days. That's a very archaic way of looking at the market where people are just doing this and not that. That's like the Coca-Cola Pepsi approach. People are drinking this product and not that product. When the truth is people are indulging in multiple products, right? So to assume that people are playing Call of Duty or Battlefield, no, it's better to assume that people are playing both.
It could simply be that everyone else was playing it nonstop for a week and I wasn't. You know, I only played it twice. It is what it is. But man, it's disheartening when everyone yelled at me to play it. I play it and then people didn't support it. Like, what the hell happened, right? So we'll see moving forward. And I definitely want your feedback on this. Okay.
First of all, nobody yelled at you. Now, they might have said in the chat that this is boring and that they're not enjoying what they're seeing because you strip the fun and the enjoyment out of everything because you turn everything into a bitching contest. It's almost as if you're trying to one-up yourself. It's ridiculous. Furthermore, for someone who claims to be so personal, who has mastered the art of separating their personal life from their professional life, you certainly do talk about personal finances a lot. And for most people, that would be one of the most personal things that you have. You're not walking around talking about how much money you make or how much money you have to anybody, really. There are people who are in full-blown relationships with people and they have separate bank accounts and neither one of them really knows how much the other one actually makes. But for you, strangers on the internet know how much you make because this is a focal point of your content. So how do you reconcile that with being Mr. Personal and nobody knows what's going on, the trolls need me and all this other stuff, with you talking about finances on your stream 75 to 80% of the time, dude? I mean, that is your content. Either we hearing simple math about how many goals they need to hit and how much money needs to be made before what day, right? Or you talking about what you did or did not make. That is your content. And ultimately, that's going to be your legacy. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.